Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so excited to welcome you to our Zoom tonight. And for those of you that don't know who we are Stefani and Joel Dunn, #1 earners in the company for 8 years. It seems like just yesterday that we signed. And I've been trying to get Meredith on, you guys, as our guest for a while. We got to spend some time with her. And I just was like, you know what? I really want her to come on and share a little bit, because for those of you that don't know, she's been in the industry for over 20 years. So it's cool to hear her perspective and what she's seen and what she's done. And then for Joel and I being in for 14 years in the same company, we just had great conversation. And so a lot of the things that people see is our highlight reels, and oh my gosh, they're #1 earners. They're at the top of the company. They don't always see the backstory. And just know that we were standing in food lines, you guys. Life was hard. Didn't want to do network marketing.
I did.
And Joel saw this opportunity. You know, we tried the product, it worked. And I went into it with a different mindset. And I think that's always one of the things that has stuck with me is I'm just going to be truthful and honest and give people the opportunity, just like the person did to me. I wish somebody would have shared with this opportunity sooner, because I didn't know that I needed it. So if you're like, how do I even approach someone? Somebody might be praying for this opportunity, and you are that person that's going to gift that to them. And so, you know, just really take that off of your shoulders of like, just offer, here's what I have. You can become a customer, or you can become a distributor and get paid to use amazing products. And when you're just laid back about things and your mindset is right and there's no pressure, I feel like things go pretty well. So enough about that, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of like, I know you guys always see us as like, oh my gosh, here we are, but you don't always know kind of that mindset and the things that go beyond, like behind the scenes. And we're just really excited to talk with Meredith and to give you guys a really awesome Zoom, and especially at the beginning of the month. So we're going to start off June on fire. We actually see so many of you doing that, but I know Joel is super excited to intro Meredith, because guys, we have a special
we have Meredith
video
on, and so I wanted to do her justice by making sure that we had an intro video. So I'm going to go ahead and queue up this intro video. Make sure I got everything, all the boxes checked. All right.
Are you guys ready? Drop a 1 if you guys are ready to see this video, because this is going to explain Meredith to a T. I cannot wait. It better work.
Yep, I'm working on it.
Oh, it's the anticipation.
Yep.
Meredith may know, but it's so good. And it just...
Let's try again. Didn't like it.
If we have to, we'll share it at the end, but... Why isn't it trusting? Do you need to put it on your computer?
Well, let's try this.
You guys, it's that good.
Yep.
He's trying to do all of the things.
We tried it before, so 2 seconds and I will get this going.
Don't worry, we'll get straight to business and give you guys all of the things. I know you guys have your notebooks ready to go. So while Joel's doing that, oh, here we go. I think, are we good? I think.
All right. You guys aren't going to believe this. Here we go.
This is what we're bringing in.
This is the kind of energy you're going to get with Meredith. This is stage Meredith. You're getting Zoom Meredith. So I'm expecting like double this.
All right, you guys, we wanted to show you, she is just so much fun. And so over those couple of weeks, we got to know her even more. And I'm just going to have her come on, because Meredith, there's lots of new people that don't know who you are. They see the corporate side. Of course, I saw the corporate side, but we saw the fun side. So we want you to bring that energy tonight. Are you up for it?
Oh my gosh, I had to take off my sweater, you guys. Like, you can't turn that song on and not fire me up. I absolutely love it. But I was also like, Lord Jesus, if it doesn't work, that's yours.
Oh. I love it.
Oh, I will tell you guys, I just want to say it's always a humbling moment when leaders will ask you to partake in just cheering on their team, pouring into their team. And I will share this. I shared this in France. When I first started here with It Works, I've been with other corporate companies. I've had, experiences with other fields, but I will tell you, never until I showed up, day one was a Saturday at a 2022 conference. They were like, can you start on Saturday? Can you fly in Friday night and start on Saturday? I was like, okay. They said, don't worry, no one's even gonna know you're here. We're not gonna announce you, nothing. And then of course, Mark is Mark, because he was like, forget that, the rules are out. We're just gonna tell everybody who you are. And immediately, I was met by Stefani and Joel, and they came up, and it wasn't a welcome that I was expecting. I was expecting a welcome of like, we're the number one leaders, tell us why we should listen to you. No. It was more like, oh my goodness, you're Meredith. Come give me a hug. We need to talk. And from that moment, I will tell you, it just showed the heart of the leaders here at It Works. And you guys, it starts at the top. It starts at the number one positions, and that trickles down. And so I had such an incredible time. I like to say, we pulled back the curtain on our friendship, and we really had some eye-opening moments, and laughed and cried and talked things out. And just, the Bible says when two come together who are like-minded, it is iron sharpening iron. And you guys, that's exactly what it was. I came back so fired up, more than I probably was going. And I'm just so grateful for their leadership. I want to share just a quick moment. If you have not ever heard my story, drop a 1 in the chat for me. And if you have heard my story, drop a 10. Just like give me give me 2 high fives, like boom. That's what we're doing. Okay. I love it. I love it. A lot of new people who have never heard my story. This is amazing. So I'm going to start at the beginning, and we're going to be here for a few hours. No, I'm playing. As Stefani said, I've been in the channel for a little bit more than 20 years. I want to back up just a little bit, because I want to share a piece of my story with you, so you guys kind of understand my heart of why this is such an important thing for me. So I grew up in, I like to say, Podunk, Montana, this little tiny town in Montana. Had great parents. My father's a minister to this day. He still preaches every Sunday. Great parents. But in Montana, I like to tell people we grew up po, because we couldn't even afford the double O. Like that's just how it was. I grew up in a trailer. I had a full-time job at the age of 10, and school took a back burner. And I grew up with a mom who was all in homeschooling us kids. She worked at the hospital, worked Pizza Hut at night, and we didn't have enough money to ever make it through mid-month, let alone end of month. Y'all, anybody ever been in that position? I know Stefani and Joel, we've had those conversations, but if you've been in that situation, like put up a 3, like you're calling the Mockingjay. Okay. Just like drop a 3 in the chat for me. Okay. I feel you. Well, here's the thing. One day, somebody was brave enough to take and present my mom with an opportunity and knock on our trailer door. And in that moment, it changed so much, not just for our lives at that time, but it really set in motion something I can't explain. Because if you've ever had a mom like my mom, who is a giver, she gives every single ounce of her soul to everybody else but herself. She is somebody who, was kind of the typical pastor's wife, quiet, worked at the hospital, worked at Pizza Hut in the kitchen, and just kind of kept quiet and kept to herself and whatnot. But here's what happened is somebody offered my mom something, and she saw hope. And she knew that God was bringing her a boat to rescue our family. And she decided to pick up the oar and start rowing for for all that it was worth. And it wound up changing something. And I watched my mom become this person that I didn't even know. I mean, like she let that roar out. Like she just something happened and she became just a dynamite. Well, I will tell you, this set the trajectory, because when you can imagine a teenager seeing somebody shift their mindset, right? When they shifted their mindset and decided to step into the purpose that God had put for them, knowing that, hey, it wasn't just going to show up all gift wrapped on the doorstep. No, she had to actually row the boat. When you see that as a young adult and somebody who's coming into adulthood, you start to see, you know what, if you work for something, you can get somewhere because God has a purpose for you. And that started my journey actually into figuring out direct sales. I started my own direct sales company in my early 20s. Before this was even a thing. I think they had cell phones like in a bag phone, what was called a bag phone in a car. Maybe it cost like $10 a minute. You know, you had to be like, you were somebody if you had a bag phone. We didn't have that. Okay. But before really there were cell phones, I remember finding my way into this industry and knocking on doors and wanting to be the person who was just like Lee, who came and knocked on my mom's door. I wanted to be that person who said, hey, you've got more in you if you're ready to dig deep. And it kind of started my journey in direct sales. Well, fast forward, I've been in the field a couple of times. I've worked on the corporate side a few times. I've been with companies that are household names. I've been with companies that are never to be heard of again. You name it. But here's the thing is that I finally started putting my list together and praying over a list. Matter of fact, I was journaling right before this. I love to put together a list, and I started to put together a list of a company that was going to check a couple of boxes. First and foremost, y'all listen, I worked for Tupperware brands. I love Tupperware brands, but let me tell you, when they give you a product that is guaranteed for life, and indestructible, like that's not residual income in my book, right? Like I wanted a company that had consumable products and in an industry and in a channel that was out there helping people just beyond surface, that actually transformed them inside and out. I wanted to be a part of leadership that understood what it was like to be in the field and had a heart for the field, but also had a heart for making sure that the leadership was open to listening and collaborating. I wanted to make sure that there was a compensation plan that was truly going to benefit the people who are out there knocking on doors, using their social media. However you want to grow your business these days, I wanted that to be rewarded, because I've been with companies who kept it all to themselves. Most importantly for me is I wanted a company that provided a community atmosphere, but also allowed me to be who God created me to be. And I will never forget sitting with Mark and Cindy Pentecost and telling them, here's a couple of things about me you just got to know. You're never going to find 2 Facebook pages. Like there's only one Meredith Tieszen. God broke the mold. Trust me. Trust me. He was like, we only need one of those. Okay. He definitely broke the mold. He was like, no more of that. Nope, just one. And I wanted to be able to express my heart and share my background and share my passions without being condemned. And when It Work said, hey, we've prayed for you. We've prayed for somebody who would come in and have such a passion for the field, such a passion for what it is we do, and a heart connection that goes beyond surface level. Like it was just a match made. And I seriously remember traveling back home and being like, Lord, please, like, I don't ask for much because it's all in your time, but let them like me enough. Like, I hope I didn't show too much of my crazy, right? Because I can get fired up and passionate. But it just worked, and it works. And I'm so incredibly humbled to be a part of this family, because that's exactly what it is. It's a family. You know, we might not always like our crazy ideas. We might not always like all the answers that we give. We might not like all the direction, whatnot. But, you know, as family, we come together and we're striving for something greater with a deep, deep purpose. And I do believe that's exactly what we're doing here. So that's just a little glimpse of my story.
Gosh, I love that, Meredith. And one of the things that I love the most is your honesty. So you guys, when we come to her with questions, because you all know that I'm going to go to bat for every single person. So I love Meredith, but she gets a lot of me and Joel. And it's because I do want the best for you. And I'm constantly sharing all the good things too. And then things that I'm like, hey, what about this? And ideas. And she will always listen. She doesn't promise things. She listens and she takes notes and she goes back. And so I want you guys to know this, you know, as new distributors coming in and as leaders that have been in, or maybe you've just decided, you know what, you've been here a couple of years. Is this time right? Yes, the timing is right. We've seen things over the years. Things continue to get better. And like she just said, some things we like, we change. And they're open to that. And that's the thing that I've loved about corporate since you've come on, Meredith, is your transparency with us, the heart of who you are and what you stand for. You don't let any of that slide sideways at all. You are who you are. And that's who me and Joel are. And that's who this group of leaders is on the Zoom. And so I wanted you to share a little bit, because we see this a lot. People come in and they think, can they be successful? Can anyone be successful in this? You know, and that's a great question for people to have. And we saw a lot of that. You know, we see it here in the US, but then to see it in countries that maybe we don't even speak the same language, but we can tell the successful from the not by excitement and body language and what they're just, if they're leaning in, if they're hungry for it. And so I would just ask you, what do you think? Can anyone be successful?
Oh, I love this. You know, short and simple is absolutely. But here's the thing. I always find like, you know, how many of you all like, now be honest in the chat here, and you can even type it in. Like, how many of y'all, you were like, you had some objections, you know, that you had to get covered off before you said yes. Like, very few people I find in this channel, like, say yes. Like the second you're like, hey, do you want to, I'm with this company called It Works. Would you like to? Yes. As a matter of fact, just sign me up. Just here you go. Right. Like, I've yet to find that special person who does that right. Just like that. But okay. So I love how you guys are like, yeah, we had some objections. If you want, you can even type the objection in, because here's what I found in this channel. Can anybody do it? Yes. Will everybody do it? And will is a funny little thing. Will everybody do it? No. Because here's the thing is people will come in and maybe they've had some objections. And I'll tell you guys just really quick, like I'm a believer that all objections fit into 3 buckets. It's either somebody saying, can I do it? Can I trust it? Or is it worth it to me? Those are the 3 things that somebody's asking. You know, can I trust it? Can I trust the products produce results? You guys, we have a 20+ year track record. Absolutely. We have clinical trials. We have clinical studies. We have some clinical in-house studies going on right now, but I'm not going to go there. But here's the thing is like, can I trust it? They want to know, can I trust the products? Can I trust to get paid? Like, am I going to get a commission check if they say they're going to pay every Friday? Are they really going to pay every Friday? Right? If it's something that they say, you know, can I trust it? Can I do this? They're wondering like, is this something that I personally can overcome some objections that I've had to be able to do it? And if they're like, can I trust it? Can I do it? Is it worth it? Right? They're wondering also, is it worth the time that I put in for what I'm going to get out? And here's the thing, the key thing with a few of these that I wanted to touch on, because anybody can do it. But here's a couple of things. I'm a firm believer that you're going to struggle doing it if you're still trying to overcome the objection that you still have. And most people still are carrying around an objection or two, maybe secretly. Even if you're a key leader, you might be like, oh, right? If you have an objection that you struggle to talk about, or that you struggle to share about. You might struggle with that objection. So I'm big on, if you're still struggling with an objection, it's going to be hard for you to overcome it for somebody else if you're still struggling, because they can feel it. Can anybody do this? Absolutely. But not if you're still struggling with that mindset, and not if you're still struggling with the mindset of, can I do it? Because here's the thing that I started off with, right? Is that somebody brought my mom an opportunity. Somebody brought Joel and Stephanie an opportunity. But let me tell you, somebody wasn't above Joel and Stephanie going, I tell you what, I'm going to build this whole entire thing for you. You just go ahead and sit back. You just go ahead and sit back. You don't even have to talk about it. You don't have to, don't post about it. Don't talk about it. Don't nothing about it. That didn't happen. You want to know why they are number one in the company is because I guarantee you they're still out working over 99.99% of the company, because they have made a mental shift to say, no one's going to get in the boat and row it for you. Like, we got to pick up a paddle and we got to start going. And sometimes, and here's the thing, sometimes a wave comes upon you and might throw you over the boat. But you know what? That just means you got to push that boat back over. You got to will yourself back up into the boat. You got to grab the row if you still have it, and you got to start rowing again. Sometimes you got to drag the boat over to the row from the outside and then help yourself get back in it. But you've got to put on this mental toughness. And the thing that I loved about going over to the EU is we saw people who, you guys, I want to put this in perspective. A lot of their annual income is less than $10,000 a year. Like, they're looking for any relief. $50 to them is a lot of money. And so they are looking at the tools that they have going, hey, if this is what you're giving us, we're going to make the most of it. We're going to put the mindset, the helmet on, and we're going to start going into battle and guard our ears because somebody came to us with an opportunity and we're ready to put in the work. So can anybody do it? Absolutely. Will everybody do it? No, because will takes a different mindset. And it takes a different mentality to go out there and get beat up and sometimes get tipped over day in and day out to keep on going to make sure that you fulfill your destiny.
I love that, because that's so spot on, you guys. And even if you've been in a while, it's practice every day too. It's not like Meredith has a great day every single day, or me and Joel have a great day every single day. It's a decision and it's a choice. And whether you're having a really good day, I would say make the most out of that day. When you're just like, man, I'm on fire and people are listening to me and I'm getting my posts up and everybody wants it. Like, those are the days to put in more effort. On the days that you're just feeling, still do the things, still show up for yourself, because I can tell you, and I think I shared this with Meredith, I was not consistent for a good week and a half. Like, I enjoyed my vacation while we were over in EU too. Yes, I worked, but then I took time off. And because I know that the business worked, I didn't say the business didn't work. I chose to be with my family. I didn't say, well, distributors and customers aren't coming in because the business doesn't work. That was my choice. And so I want you guys to think about that. You can decide this month that you're going to promote, that you're going to go Ruby, that you're going to help someone go Ruby. Because when you verbally too, not just think it, but when you verbally say those words, it's like a boomerang and it comes back. And it sounds crazy, but all of the events, all of the people that were around and leaders, their mind and their words that they say speak volumes about what is going on in their life. And I heard that even in the EU, and how excited they are and what a great opportunity they have. And they don't care if people say no or yes, they've made a decision. They're going to take the simple steps that we have, a four and a friend, right? 4+1. That's all Joel talked about. It was 4+1 leads to do that again. One more time, you get that builder bonus, and it leads to Ruby, you guys. It's just a little volume. If you just did it barely, like, you're just about to Ruby and then helping a Ruby. So if you're doing that, you're going to start building confidence. You're building in those customers, you're building in those distributors. And the reason that I asked that, Meredith, is because you've seen it in other companies. It's not always, of course, we have amazing products, and use them because that builds your confidence. And like she said, it's consumable and we have the best of the best. But a lot of the times it's right here of what your decision is going to do. Do you believe that the products work? Do you believe that you've seen results? It's been 20 years, are you going to do those things?
And guys, they have less products to sell in the EU than you do. They don't even have our full catalog. So that was the thing, is they're doing the incredible with less. The thing that you always have to remind yourself is there's somebody out there doing more than less with what you have.
And I think me and Meredith talked about this. We said this sometimes, less is more. And you guys hear me say this quite a bit. And the more that you just focus on the basics, the better it is. If I came in and said, I have this training and this, and I do all these different things, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot for a newbie, that could overwhelm them and not want to do this business. So you guys know that we get paid to share and talk about the business and the product. Keep it that simple. What are some of the products that you love? And we really try to keep it that simple, because I know there's many ways to get customers and distributors, and that's your choice. You can do all of them. You can do 2 of them. You can do what you want with it. But I think making that mental decision, and Meredith is so good on feeding her mind right with the good. And so Meredith, what would you share, for somebody new coming in, and then for leaders around, like as distributors, what could we do to fill our mind? Like, what would you say?
Oh my goodness. So Stephanie, how much time do I have?
You're fine.
Okay. All right. Because
we got Meredith.
We don't get you very often, so we're going to take it.
So you guys, I am big on absolutely making sure that you feed your mind. And I love so many different books, so many motivational things, but here's the thing. You've got to find the thing that works for you. You've got to find that thing that works for you. When we came on the Zoom, there was music playing. If that's something that pumps you up and fires you up and gets you going, you've got to do that. If it's working out, you need to do that. If it's podcasts, do that. For me, I go to the word. I go to the word constantly. I journal. I right now I've got like 2 different books that I'm reading. I'm reading The First 90 Days, and I'm reading another book. Oh my goodness, it just like flew right out of my head the second I said that. Perfect, not something, and I'll think of it here in a second. What was it? Oh, present over perfect. That's what it is. Present over perfect. And here's the thing, I'm constantly challenging myself, but I want to, if you are brand new, I want to help set your mindset a little bit. And I want to share this story that I ended with in France, a little bit. Are you okay with me doing that, Stephanie?
Yeah.
That little piece. Okay. You guys, like that started that video, and I didn't even come on intentionally on this call thinking I was even going to share anything like that. But then I saw that video and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let the word flow out of me, because that's how I am. But here's the thing. If you are brand new, you're going to run into some roadblocks. If you are a leader, you're going to run into some roadblocks. I'm one that a lot of people thought, and sometimes I'll ask the question, like, how many people thought I was a cheerleader, in high school? I was all like, maybe the big smile or so. If you thought I was a cheerleader, go ahead and drop it in the chat. If you thought I was, like, drop a 2 in the chat, be like, yeah, girl, you're a cheerleader. I bring it, girl. I think that's kind of funny. Is that might be towards bring it on or something. But here's the thing. I share this because I wasn't a cheerleader. I was actually a fighter. I grew up in the ring. I absolutely love everything about fighting. And I think that you have to have a little bit of special, crazy gene to actually get in a ring with some other person, male or female, and decide that, why not? Let's go for it. Let's just duke it out. And I share this because I also am a firm believer that in this business, because if you If you have not heard no yet, if you are brand new, I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna hear somebody tell you no. And sometimes the no's hurt for who they come from. As a matter of fact, who has heard a no from somebody that still sits with you to this day? Maybe it was 5 years ago, maybe it was 10 years ago, but have you ever had somebody tell you no that you were for sure they were going to be on your side? You thought 100% they were going to want to jump in with you. They were your go-to, your ride or die. And you went up to them and they were like, not just no, but no, right? That probably felt like a punch in the face. And if you haven't yet, I'm just going to tell you, this is going to come. But here's the thing, as Stephanie said just a second ago, if you believe that these products with a 22 plus year history with proven results and you love them, if you know in your heart of hearts, they're great products, if you know that this is a great business opportunity that has the ability to go out there and offer somebody hope, I guarantee you, you're going to sometimes feel like you're in a ring and you are going to battle for your business. And if you're a leader, I guarantee you that you've already felt that here and there. You know, I shared a few weeks ago on a Sunday night call that the last couple of weeks of the month, I always kind of feel like those are the championship rings, because here's the thing, as a fighter, you go every single day, you go to practice, you show up every single day and you learn the same moves again and again and again. How many of you all have been on calls with Stephanie or your leaders and they're like, okay, you know, tell me your story. Why are you doing this? Share with me the things that you're going to do today. And you're like, it's the same things I did yesterday. I'm going to do a host a post. I'm going to reach out on Facebook and Instagram. I'm going to message some people like, how many times does she need me to say this? Right. And you're like, but every single day she'll ask the same question. It's the same as going into the gym and every single day you throw the same punch. You throw the same punch. You throw the same punch. You guys, this habitual habit sets you up to be able to be in a circumstance at any time, whether you're a fighter in a ring or whether you are in going for business, that when the opportunity presents itself, you understand how your posture needs to be. You know, Stephanie mentioned it a second ago, where your energy is. You have the words that are right there on your tongue, ready to go. Kind of like a fighter, when you get in the ring, it is a reflex. You don't even think about it. You're not thinking like, okay, are they going to throw this punch? Listen, before you even said, okay, you'd be knocked out. Y'all, you would be flat on the mat, knocked out. No, it is muscle memory. And it's the same with this business. However, with this business, we forget that we are sometimes going into a ring, the championship ring, because you've got great leaders like Joel and Steph here who have set you up for the championship rounds, who have given you every single thing they have to say, this is what you need to do to be successful. But again, you've got to pick up the tools and you've got to decide if you're going to go into the ring and declare defeat before you step in, or if you're going to go in the ring and say, I've got all the tools I need. I'm going to take a couple of hits. I'm going to get knocked down a couple of times. But you know what? I've got great coaches in my corner and I'm going to rest for a minute and I'm going to go over for a second. And they're going to speak truth into my ear. And you've got to have those truth speakers there at all times, whether that's your spouse, whether that's a mentor, whether that's a book, a podcast, whatever that is, so that you can say, okay, the bell is about to ring. I still have work to do because I'm not to my goal just yet. It might mean that you come out of that ring and you might not win every single match, but here's the difference. From going to where you are currently to where you want to go, it is simply by saying, I'm not done yet. You see, I do believe in the saying that says there is no such thing as failure. It's either you learn from something or you decide to quit. But those are the two options. You either say, I'm done with this, or you say, you know what? No, I learned maybe not to use a spammy tammy message. I learned to maybe pick up the phone and call somebody, or maybe go do an in-person thing, or to use the tools that I've been given, or to one more time listen to Stefani and Joel, and they said to reach out to 10 people. You know what? I'm going to take it to 20. I'm going to level up myself and use that as fuel to say, okay, you know what? I'm going back in for another match because my match isn't done yet. I haven't walked away with my belt. And let me just say, everybody's belt is different. Everybody's championship round is a little different. And it's okay that if yours is one and somebody else's is another, that's okay. You know, it might take somebody else a minute to level up to that next level. That's all right too. But please do not sell yourself short on, well, I'm not a good enough leader as Joel and Stefan. They had the following. I mean, they must have started with about 300,000 followers. That's why they're number one, right? And they must have easily just found the right people who said, yes, listen, I listened to Stefani's story. And she's like, you know what? It wasn't about the person that we typically signed. It was about the person who signed the next person. And that led to the next person. And so they poured into that person and they gave themselves to that person. And they made sure that they were there to help them, because sometimes it's not about the first person that you talk to. It's about the person that they spoke to, and maybe the person that they spoke to. And then you start piecing things together and it falls together. And you might look back and you might be like, man, I didn't mean to win in the 5th round by a knockout with 3 seconds to go, because I didn't put the combinations together in my mind before I got in, but I kept swinging. And here's what happened. I came out the champion, because that's what you guys have available. You see, I go back to the fact that somebody took a moment of their day, and knocked on a preacher's wife's door, all because he had seen her a couple of times. And years ago, my mom was his school teacher, and he sucked it up for a second. And it's funny because when Lee would tell the story about going to my mom, he was like, I was so fearful. But here's the thing. My mom was fearful about something else, because we were broke. If people weren't leaving food at our doorstep, I'm telling you, we weren't eating. If people didn't give my dad a car to drive to and from work, and then miraculously it got filled up late at night, he wasn't getting to and from work. Like, we did not have the means. But somebody knocked on my mom's door. And so, like, I go into this with a little bit of a mentality of, you might knock me down. You might give me a black eye. I might get all bloodied and bruised, but you know what? I'm going to give it everything I got. And when I don't have any more to get up, I'm going to remember my mom praying for a miracle and God sending a boat, and her working extra time in the night and first thing in the morning and in the day when she didn't have the time and she was tired. But she did it for the fact that she needed the answer to a prayer. So you wonder why this couple right here, there we go. I'm directionally challenged on Zoom, y'all. It's a real thing. But you wonder why this couple here drives themselves to the point that they are, because they stood in the food lines, not knowing what was going to be their next meal. They didn't know if they were going to have enough to help Taylor get some clothes. They didn't know that the fear was so real, but the fear motivated them beyond to say, listen, if this is as bad as it gets, that's okay, because God's got something for me. And they believed in that. And they believed that they were the king's kids sitting on the Most High, who said, I've anointed you for something better. Believe it. But it means that you got to go work for it. And you guys, that's what we have in our hand. So I don't take this lightly, because I have seen this business transform things. So if you want to transform, if you are brand new and you came in because you said, you know what, it's time for me to hope a little bit bigger. It's time for me to dream a little bit more, because God's got a purpose for me. I'm here to tell you, absolutely 100% he does. If you are sitting here as a leader and you're like, man, I got to rebuild again, let me tell you something. You got to go plant seeds again. That's what we do. We don't build. We don't get down to exhaustion. We go out there and we plant seeds. And sometimes the seeds fall on hardened ground, and that's okay, because eventually the seeds are going to fall on good soil, because that's what we were promised. We were promised that it will fall on good soil and that we will reap the harvest. And you guys, we are constantly planting seeds. But here's my thing. It is June 5th. Have you planted your seeds even today? And if not, why not? If you haven't offered this opportunity to somebody, I'm going to challenge you right now, because the night is not over. Because here's the thing. You can get motivated for a minute, but motivation comes and goes. You've got to be disciplined, because discipline is what is going to get you to number one. Discipline is what's going to get you out of the situation you prayed to get out of. Discipline is going to be the thing that sets your butt on fire to move mountains. Sorry, I got a little fired up.
No, that was
I'm
preaching.
like, yes, this is so good. It's not me just saying the things. Like, I think sometimes I get sick
I'm
of
sweating
being
over here.
told. But I love that, you guys. You all have everything that you need. It's taking the action to do it. So we have, like Meredith said, we've got the tools, just like going into the ring. We have all of the tools. It's your choice whether you're going to log in and look at the things. We can't do that for you. We're going to set you up, but it's your choice to take those big, bold actions, even scared. And that's when the magic happens, like Meredith said. So I'm glad that we had you on and shared. I don't think anybody's like, oh my gosh, we need to shorten this Zoom up, because it was exactly what was needed. Sometimes, just setting our mindset right for that first of the month, but continuing to remember and to watch and to lean into this every single day of the month. I've challenged them on June 1st. I did a Zoom, Meredith, and said, we're going to do a 30-day push. I don't want to do 90 days. I want a 30-day push. And watch what happens, because you start to get yourself disciplined. You start to be consistent. You're planting the seeds every day. You feel more confident. You're excited. And that's going to lead you to the income that's life-changing. And then you feel all the feels of helping somebody else. So like Meredith said, we encourage you to go share after this Zoom. After you've been filled up with this, how can you not? There is somebody on your mind right now that you're thinking about, that you need to reach out to, that you've never done before, or maybe you were scared, or you just haven't because there's an excuse in the way. Take it off the table. Do what God is telling you to do and reach out. That's all you have to do, is just do the action. The rest is in their corner. If they decide to say yes or ask the question back, you did the job. And that's what we're here to do as distributors. We just are the hands and the feet, and let them have the opportunity. But Meredith, I love you. We did pull the curtains back and we had the best time, and I will travel around the world with you anytime. You guys, we have great corporate behind us, leading us, giving us all of the things that we need. And she knows that I have your back always. And I'm proud to represent you guys and to go to her and to go to corporate every single time that we have anything. I just feel so confident and just excited. So we're on fire.
Guys, really quick, I am all about honor. Can you guys drop some hearts and some fire bombs for your incredible leaders, Joel and Stefani? Listen, what they do is absolutely, it's hands down the best leadership that I've ever gotten to witness personally. So I love them. And I think that it's always good to honor leadership in the room.
I was not expecting that. Thank you. Because you guys know it's not about me. It's always about you. So very sweet. And I just love you for that. So you all have us fired up. I was going to do another quick little video, but I'm going to save that because I think this is exactly what we needed. Meredith, you said, and started it off right, bringing the fire. There was no pressure, but lots of pressure. And so I'm excited. You guys have the homework. We'll see you again next Monday, and get out there and reach out and change lives. You guys, we love you guys. See ya.
Have a good night, guys.